What if I told you there's a superpower that you already have? One that can dramatically improve your memory, your health, and even your lifespan. Well, today we're going to dive into the science of sleep and why it's not a luxury, it's your ultimate life support system.
So, where do we start? Well, we're going to kick things off with, let's just say, a pretty shocking example of what happens when you don't get enough sleep. And believe me, this one is designed to get your attention.
Yep, you heard that right. That is a direct quote from neuroscientist Matt Walker. And he says that to deliberately wake us all up to a very serious point about just how deeply sleep impacts our fundamental biology.
And the data behind that quote is, well, it's pretty stunning. It turns out that men who regularly sleep just 5 hours a night have significantly smaller testicles than guys getting 7 hours or more. Not only that, their testosterone levels are that of someone a full decade older. A lack of sleep literally ages a man by 10 years. And look, this is not just a male issue. Not at all. Research shows equivalent impairments in female reproductive health when sleep is in short supply. So the bottom line is, this affects absolutely everyone.
Okay, so that's the body. But what about the brain? We've all done it, right? Pulled an all-nighter, thinking we're getting ahead. But it turns out the science says that's one of the absolute worst things you can do for your ability to learn anything new.
To really get why, we have to talk about something called the hippocampus. Think of it like your brain's informational inbox. When you sleep, you're basically preparing that inbox, making it like a dry sponge, ready to soak up all kinds of new information. But without sleep, that sponge is just waterlogged.
So, researchers decided to put this to the test. They took a group of people, split them in two. One group got a full 8 hours of sleep. The other group, they were kept awake all night long. No naps, no caffeine, nothing. The next day, they put both groups into an MRI scanner and tried to teach them a list of new facts. And the results are just staggering. The sleep-deprived group showed a 40% deficit in their ability to make new memories. A 40% drop. To put that in perspective, that's the difference between acing an exam and failing it miserably.
So what's happening is that without sleep, that memory inbox in your brain literally shuts down. Any new information that comes your way just gets bounced away. You physically cannot commit new experiences to memory.
And the damage doesn't just stop with your brain. Oh no. A lack of sleep launches a full-scale attack on your entire body. We're talking everything from your cardiovascular system right down to your DNA.
How can we be so sure? Well, there's actually a massive global experiment that's performed on 1.6 billion people twice a year that gives us a crystal clear answer. You know it as daylight saving time. Get this! In the spring, when we lose just 1 hour of sleep, hospitals report a 24% increase in heart attacks the very next day, just from 1 hour of lost sleep. And you guessed it, the opposite is also true. In the autumn, when we gain an hour of sleep, there's a 21% reduction in heart attacks. I mean, you can't get a clearer picture of the link between sleep and your heart health. Okay, now let's talk about your immune system. You've got these amazing cells called natural killer cells, and you can think of them as the secret service agents of your body. Their job is to identify and destroy dangerous, unwanted elements, like cancer cells. But here's the frightening part. After just one single night of only 4 hours of sleep, there is a 70% drop in the activity of these critical immune cells. A 70% drop. That's a severe state of immune deficiency from just one bad night. So it's really no surprise then that we're now finding significant links between short sleep and your risk for numerous forms of cancer, bowel, prostate, and breast cancer. The link is so strong, in fact, that the World Health Organization has actually classified any form of nighttime shift work as a probable carcinogen. All right, I know that was all pretty alarming, but here's the really good news. The fix is accessible to every single one of us. So let's pivot away from the problems and talk about some simple, powerful solutions. First things first, we have to debunk that old saying, you can sleep when you're dead. The scientific truth is that this is just mortally unwise advice. Study after study, looking at millions of people, shows a simple, brutal fact. The shorter your sleep, the shorter your life. End of story. So how do we actually start getting better sleep? Well, beyond the obvious things like avoiding caffeine and alcohol before bed, here are two of the most effective tips you can start using tonight. Tip number 1, and this is the most important one, regularity. Go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time, 7 days a week. Yes, I'm sorry, that includes weekends. Regularity is king.
It will anchor your sleep and dramatically improve its quantity and its quality.
Second tip, keep it cool. Your body actually needs to drop its core temperature to initiate sleep and then to stay asleep. It's why it's always easier to fall asleep in a room that's too cold than one that's too hot. The sweet spot? Aim for a bedroom temperature of around 65 degrees Fahrenheit, or 18 degrees Celsius.
So ultimately, this is the main takeaway. Sleep is not an optional luxury. It's a fundamental, non-negotiable biological necessity. It is your personal life support system. It's truly Mother Nature's best effort yet at immortality.
So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. After everything we've just uncovered, what is the one change you will make, starting tonight, to reclaim your fundamental right to a full night of sleep?